Hello and welcome to Hidden Magic Tarot. I'm Nancy, and I thought I would talk about how I use my Reclaim Oracle. This is a really special deck. It's an indie deck. It's by Little Darkness, so make sure you're getting it from their website. I'm sure there are lots of counterfeits out there, so try to find it from the creator. It's a really beautiful deck, tons of cards, really nice guidebook, kind of simple, maybe not simple, but short descriptions of the cards, but they really pack a punch. And it's just really a very powerful deck to work with. This deck is filled with feelings. And because of that, I don't use this like I use my other decks, like my tarot, my other oracles. I don't use it as a way to throw some randomness into my thinking about a situation. Instead, I go to it to help me understand how I'm already feeling. I personally have some trouble identifying my feelings, and so I will go through this deck and just pull out the cards that speak to me, looking at the keywords, looking at the images, the feeling they evoke. So I'll use it face up so that I can get a sense of how I'm really feeling about a situation. Instead of just shuffling and, pulling a card out of the deck where I'm looking at the backs, I specifically choose the cards that represent how I'm feeling. And then I pull a tarot deck to dive a little bit deeper into it and gain some more self-awareness. Let me show you that. So let's choose these two. We've got control and trust. So maybe I'm having some issues around those two things. So I take those out and then I grab a companion tarot deck. And then with my tarot deck, I would pull some cards to help me dig into those feelings, maybe help me understand more why I'm having those feelings. I might ask for a reframe around my interpretation of those feelings or my assumptions about what's happening and why those feelings have come up. A reframe is very helpful. I might ask for ways to nourish myself while I feel this way, or ways to allow these feelings to educate me or to let them flow through me instead of getting stuck. So there's just a ton of ways you can work with these. Let's do an example one. I will just do the trust card. So if I'm struggling with trust, so maybe with this I would ask something like, what is the story I'm telling myself that's contributing to these trust issues? What's the story? Maybe I'll do what's the story and what's the truth. So when I turn to the tarot then to ask about the story and the truth, I do not use the cards face up like I did with Reclaim. I'll do the regular face down, shuffle, and choose randomly. So let me give it a shuffle and I'll grab a couple cards. I've shuffled my deck and now I'm going to pull for the story I'm telling myself and the truth. So I've got 6 of Pentacles for the story I'm telling myself and 6 of Cups for the truth, with trust as the basis of the reading. So what's the story I'm telling myself that's causing these issues around trust? Maybe I'm feeling like there's an imbalance in my relationships, sort of a power play happening, attempts for control. We're not doing a give and take. And then when I look for the truth, maybe the truth is that we need a little more vulnerability, that there is this openness, there is this balance, but there's something blocking us. And then I can pull more cards from there. And then I can also go back to the deck, pull out the next feeling I'm currently dealing with, and do a similar reading. So this is the first way I use my Reclaim. Let me show you another way. Okay, the second way I do this is similarly, I do it face up. I'm going to choose the cards I want to work with. And this is actually quite similar to the first one, but I'm using my Reclaim here as spread positions. So I would maybe take 3 cards out and I would make this a 3-card reading, 1 about resentment, 1 about impatience, and 1 about frustration. Once again, I would grab a tarot deck to do the actual reading about these positions. And I would probably choose an overarching thought like, what is causing the resentment? What is causing the impatience? And what is causing the frustration? Just pull 3 cards for an example. So what's causing the resentment? 9 of Pentacles. What's causing the impatience? Ace of Cups. And the frustration? Page of Swords. Okay, So you can see now how these act as both a mirror into how I'm feeling, helps me do a little bit of self-analysis, a little bit of self-awareness, but then I bring the tarot in for new perspective on it. Because I could sit down with my journal and tell you what is causing that resentment, that impatience, and that frustration, but that keeps me in the same story that I've been telling already. Whereas bringing in tarot helps me to understand it in a new way. So if I'm looking at the cause of my resentment, I would say maybe some jealousy is there. Somebody has something that I wish I had, or I've been working really hard and it's not there yet, and I'm resenting the amount of work I'm putting into it without getting the reward I was expecting. Okay? And then of course I would want to read more on that, because why am I expecting a reward? Where's that entitlement coming from, right? We can sort of snowball from there to dive even deeper. So what's causing the impatience? Ace of Cups, I would say I want my blessings. Again, it kind of fits with this one. I want to have that full overflowing cup, and I want it now. And so then I could probably ask myself, why do I feel like I have to have it now, right? I'd pull another tarot card. And for that frustration, my Page of Cups, maybe this is just that I'm feeling like a beginner. I'm feeling just too fresh and too new, and just really want to move things along. I'd probably pull out my journal with all of these. I love journaling when I've got my Reclaim. I just journal a lot when I've got my tarot out anyway, but especially readings like this, it's helpful to have that journal out. All right, and I've got one more way that I use my Reclaim. This one is about turning disempowerment into empowerment. And I think this could actually work either face up, as I've been doing, where I sort through it and I pick out an emotion I need to deal with. I think it could also work face down, where you just take a random emotion out of here. The idea with this one is very heavy journaling, where you take a feeling and then you pull out your journal or your audio journal, however you do this, and you're going to turn like the disempowered version of this, and then you're going to change your approach. So if we're looking at limitation, I would be thinking about how limited I am, how few choices I have, or I'd be asking my cards maybe, what are my limits? If this were sadness, I would be thinking about how I constantly feel sad. I would turn it into like a superlative. I always feel sad, I never feel good, right? We'll do one more. Defeat, well, that's so disempowered all on its own. I don't have to do much work on that one, but like, I need to give up. There's no way I can succeed at this thing I'm trying. There's no point, right? So these are these disempowered emotions, where the exercise is to turn this feeling into something empowering. So I would ask myself, start with, what am I feeling limited about? What are the limitations I'm noticing? And then I would either just journal and say, how can I get over those limitations? How can I see them in a different way? How can I learn from them instead of feeling blocked by them? Or we can also pull out a tarot deck. So let me grab another one and I'll show you. Let's do defeat. So if I'm feeling defeated, I'm feeling like nothing's going to ever change. No matter what I do, I can't make it better. I just am at a loss. So I could turn this into something more empowering by asking, what can I learn from this feeling? I could ask, while I'm in this defeat, feeling this defeat time in my life, what can I be compassionate about with myself? I could turn it into something like, what needs to heal before I can move forward? I hope you're noticing I'm not asking about how to get out of this. I'm not trying to create this totally positive situation. If we are feeling defeated, we need to acknowledge that we're feeling defeated. But we can use it as a chance to learn, as a chance to nurture ourselves, to grow, to expand our capacity. And that's what I would want to use the tarot or the journaling for. So let's say, as an example, what can I learn from this feeling of defeat? Okay, and we'll turn to our tarot and we'll pull two cards. What can I learn from this? I mean, two cards, it can be one card. Doesn't really matter. What can I learn? 9 of coins. Okay. I can learn that reaching for these goals, for this stability, for this contentment, for this physical wellness, for having everything I need and some of what I want is going to take hard work. And I'm going to have some wins and I'm going to have some losses. And I just need to, sit in here, right? So then I can ask another question. Okay, so if I'm sitting in this loss, what does the loss teach me? King of Cups. That loss teaches me emotional resilience. That's how you would do it. You would just, again, you're using the reclaim as a way to get into your feelings, to figure out how you're actually feeling, and then to address them, to accept them, to learn from them, to let them teach you a little bit about yourself instead of just, shoving them down and pretending they're not there, or instead of getting swept away with them and, not being in your wise mind. So there you have it. That's how I use my Reclaim Oracle. I'd love to know if you have done any of these, if you do something similar, how you use your Reclaim Oracle. I'm really interested in new ways of working with this. Like I said, I have a hard time identifying my feelings. I have lots of feelings, but sometimes I can't tell what they are. And I think this oracle is super helpful for that. So let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if you have this oracle, how you use it, if you give any of these options a try. And we all say this, but the likes really help. And I would love for you to subscribe. I do have a goal that I'm trying to reach so we can build some community here on this channel. So if you like my videos, please subscribe. Thanks so much.